Hippocrates on the sacred disease and early Jewish literature. The writings ascribed to Hippocrates, 460 to 350 BCE, represent a critical shift in the understanding of disease in the ancient world. These texts, particularly on the sacred disease, challenge the prevailing notion that ailments such as epilepsy were the result of supernatural forces, whether divine or demonic. Instead, Hippocrates and his successors sought to explain disease in natural terms, rejecting mystical explanations and the rituals that accompanied them. This perspective significantly influenced both Greco-Roman medicine and, to some extent, early Jewish medical traditions. The Hippocratic tradition and the rejection of magic. Contrary to the assumption that magic dominated ancient medicine, the Hippocratic corpus reflects a strong skepticism towards supernatural explanations. The author of On the Sacred Disease argues against the idea that epilepsy is divine in origin, stating, "I do not believe that the sacred disease is any more divine or sacred than any other disease, but, on the contrary, has specific characteristics and a definite cause. Nevertheless, because it is completely different from other diseases, it has been regarded as a divine visitation by those who, being only human, view it with ignorance and astonishment." On the Sacred Disease, 12. This passage illustrates the fundamental Hippocratic principle that all diseases have natural causes, even if they appear mysterious. The author criticizes those who attribute epilepsy to divine forces, arguing that their reliance on purification rituals and incantations masks their ignorance rather than providing a true cure. Further, the text condemns faith healers and magicians who claim to treat epilepsy through supernatural means. It is my opinion that those who first called this disease sacred were the sort of people we now call witch doctors, faith healers, quacks, and charlatans. These are exactly the people who pretend to be very pious and to be particularly wise. By invoking a divine element, they were able to screen their own failure to give suitable treatment. On the Sacred Disease 2. The rejection of divine causation is a significant departure from popular beliefs of the time. This skepticism is further reflected in On Airs, Waters, Places, where the author dismisses the idea that diseases result from divine intervention. The Scythians themselves attribute this to a divine visitation. I myself hold that this and all other diseases are equally of divine origin, and none more divine nor more earthly than another. Each disease has a natural cause, and nothing happens without a natural cause. On Airs, Waters, Places, 22. This statement reinforces the idea that supernatural explanations for disease are inadequate and that every illness, no matter how mysterious, can be attributed to natural processes. Greek influence on Jewish medicine. The rational approach to medicine found in the Hippocratic corpus influenced Jewish thought, particularly in the 2nd century B.C.E. Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, presents a perspective on medicine that aligns with Greek rationalism while maintaining a strong theological foundation. Honor the physician with the honor due him, according to your need of him, for the Lord created him. For healing comes from the Most High. The Lord created medicines from the earth, and a sensible man will not despise them. Sirach 38:4. This passage affirms that medicine is a gift from God and that its practice is legitimate and divinely sanctioned. The text does not attribute disease to demonic possession, but instead recognizes the value of natural remedies. The reference to medicines from the earth aligns with Hippocratic principles, which emphasize the role of natural substances in healing. Josephus, the 1st century Jewish historian, also attests to the influence of Greek medical traditions on Jewish communities. He describes the Essenes as engaged in medical research. They also take great pains in studying the writings of the ancients and choose out of them what is most for the advantage of their soul and body, and they inquire after such roots and medicinal stones as may cure distempers. War 2.135. Here, Josephus presents the Essenes as adopting a medical approach rooted in empirical observation rather than supernatural explanations. This further suggests that some Jewish groups incorporated Greek medical knowledge into their healing practices. Philo, a Jewish philosopher of the 1st century, also emphasizes the importance of medicine. He describes the Therapeutae, an ascetic Jewish sect, as possessing a medical practice that extends beyond physical ailments to spiritual conditions. They possess an art of medicine more excellent than that in general use in the cities, for that only heals bodies, but the other heals souls, which are under the mastery of terrible and almost incurable diseases, which pleasures and appetites, fears and griefs, and covetousness and follies and injustice, and all the rest of the innumerable multitude of other passions and vices have inflicted upon them. On the contemplative life, too, this perspective mirrors the Hippocratic distinction between physical and psychological conditions, showing an understanding of health that encompasses both the body and the mind. The rejection of demon possession as a cause of illness. One of the most striking parallels between the Hippocratic and Jewish traditions is the rejection of demon possession as an explanation for disease. In On the Sacred Disease, the author describes various gods that were believed to be responsible for epilepsy. They make a different god responsible for each of the different forms of the complaint. If the sufferer acts like a goat, they say the mother of the gods is responsible. If he roars, they blame Poseidon. If he foams at the mouth and kicks out with his feet, Ares is to blame. On the Sacred Disease 4. This passage illustrates how different symptoms were attributed to different gods, much like later beliefs about demon possession. However, the Hippocratic author dismisses these claims, arguing that the brain is the true source of the disease. The brain is the seat of this disease, as it is of other very violent diseases. On the Sacred Disease 6. This naturalistic explanation contrasts sharply with supernatural views of illness. Later medical thinkers, such as Galen, 129 to 199 CE, further distanced themselves from the idea that disease resulted from divine or demonic forces. The idea that human disease is the consequence of divine wrath does not appear in Greek medicine. Similarly, rejected is the concept that sickness is the consequence of demonic possession. Galen's statement highlights the continuity of the rational medical tradition from Hippocrates onward, reinforcing the idea that diseases should be understood through natural causes rather than supernatural intervention. Conclusion: the Hippocratic tradition played a crucial role in shaping ancient medical thought, challenging supernatural explanations for disease, and promoting a rational, empirical approach to healing. This influence extended to Jewish literature, as seen in Sirach, Josephus, and Philo, who all emphasized natural remedies and medical knowledge. By rejecting demon possession as a cause of illness, the Hippocratic tradition laid the foundation for later medical advancements and influenced Jewish communities that sought to integrate faith with practical healing methods. This historical background helps us understand how early Jewish and Greco-Roman thinkers approached disease, emphasizing natural causes over supernatural explanations. It also provides a framework for interpreting references to disease and healing in ancient texts, including those in Jewish and Christian writings, through the lens of medical rather than mystical reasoning.